Can we get like a countdown?
Bless you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Jessica Garcia. I am chair of the Cannabis Control Board, and it's great to be here with all of you today. My board member, Brad Usher, is running a little late, but recognizing that we nevertheless still have the majority of board members present, I'm pleased to call the meeting to order and welcome all of you who are participating both in person as well as virtually. Before we get started, I would like to talk a little bit about public participation during the Cannabis Control Board meeting. Open meetings law allows, but doesn't require public bodies such as the Control Board to include a period for public participation and comment during regularly scheduled meetings. The office and the board recognize the importance of hearing directly from licensees, the public, and all those affected by the work that we do. In order to allow public comment, we need to make sure that this is a space that is respectful and safe for everyone who attends. When we reach today's public comment period, this is just a reminder, commenters are expected to maintain decorum. Speakers should engage in civil discourse and refrain from obscene or offensive language, threats of violence, and personal attacks. Keep their comments relevant. Comments should remain pertinent to the business conducted by the board and OCM and avoid discussions of private matters or issues beyond our scope. Keep their comments timely. Many people register to speak at these meetings and deserve equal time to hold the floor. When staff signals that your 2 minutes are done, please make space for the next speaker. Address the body. Remarks should be directed towards the Cannabis Control Board or the agency, rather than toward individual members or the audience. And lastly, we ask that you understand the consequences. The Control Board may impose consequences for disruptive or inappropriate behavior, which may include limiting further participation, removal from the meeting, or even potential legal action in cases of disorderly conduct. A public comment policy has been posted on the OCM website, which goes into more detail. We appreciate everyone's commitment to helping ensure a safe, respectful meeting environment. So without further ado, I believe the agenda is posted on the screen. Today we'll be approving the meeting minutes from the June 27th board meeting. We will consider the adult use applications for approval. We will consider adult use licensee location change amendment requests. We will also review consideration of cannabis research licenses annual reports, consideration of registered organizations dispensing locations, consideration of packaging, labeling, marketing, and advertising regulations for public comment, consideration of applications closed for the one license policy, consideration of delegating denial power for certain license applications, consideration of administrative appeals, and we will also hear from the Office of Cannabis Management through their updates and reports. And lastly, we will have public comments before we adjourn. So with that, we can move on to the approval of the minutes for the June 27th meeting. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Thank you. Can I have a second?
A second.
Any amendments, discussion regarding the minutes? Seeing none, all in favor of approving the minutes, say aye or signify with your hand.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Minutes have been adopted. The next item is consideration of adult use applications for approval, and that is resolution number 2025-51. Can I have a motion to consider that resolution?
So moved.
Thank you. Can I have a second?
A second.
Thank you. And Pat, I believe we're hearing from you.
Thank you, Jessica. Before the board today is a cohort of 52 adult use applications which have cleared the multi-step review process and are being recommended for approval by the board. Today's cohort includes applications from the November and December queues, as well as a handful of processor type 3 applications. Of the 52 applications, there includes 1 cultivator, 17 retail dispensaries, 6 micro businesses, 5 distributors, and 23 processors. If approved, this will bring the total number of adult use cannabis licenses to 1,850. I also want to take a brief moment to update the license review process in terms of the number of applications that remain pending in both the November and December queues. So for the November queue, which included 1,603 applications that were queued, 674 of those have received a final license from the board. 239 have been issued a provisional license, meaning they're out there trying to find a final location and will come back before the board for final approval. 321 applications are pending, meaning their applications are actively under review, going back with deficiencies and cure periods in terms of getting outstanding information. And then 369 of those November queue applications have been closed, either denied, withdrawn, void, etc. From the December queue, which includes the different queues depending on the different license type, there was approximately 4,666 applications that were submitted and included in the December queue. In terms of the license types, there's 2,704 retail dispensary applications pending, 872 micro business applications pending. And of course, as we've talked about, that queue is on hold until we get through the November queue. Processor applications. Number one back in process. Those are actively working on their way to get through the review process, and we hope to have another kind of cohort ready for September.
Okay. Any challenges to reviewing those applications that we should make folks aware about?
Yeah, well, I will flag that, especially, some of these have been outstanding for a little bit, so understandable that, the office is now reaching out a year plus after you submitted your application. So I just remind folks to keep an eye on it. One of the big deficiencies is the TPI disclosure. So when the application was submitted, an automatic email gets sent to the primary entity with a PIN, and then they have to go in and do the individual disclosure. And then every single TPI that's listed on the application also has to individually go in. And so sometimes it takes some coordination to get everyone on the same page. And just flagging that's we've seen that as the most common deficiency in terms of getting things ready to go for your review.
Thank you for that. Any questions from the board? All right, so if there are no further questions, I'll just take a vote. All in favor of approving the licenses submitted to us for approval, signify by saying aye or show. Aye. Motion carries. The next item is resolution number 2025-52, consideration of adult use license location change amendment requests. Can I have a motion for that resolution?
So moved.
Thank you. Can I have a second?
Second. A second.
Thanks so much. Pat, can you give us an explanation of this resolution?
Absolutely. So this one's become a pretty standard one. We have 29 licensees who are requesting a location change or tier change in some form. It's a mix of cultivator, processor, distributor, micro business, and retail dispensary licenses. All of the applicant or licensees have submitted an amendment via our amendment survey, which is located on our website, and have been reviewed for all the required materials and recommending approval for these amendments.
Great. Any questions from the board? Great. All in favor of adopting resolution number 2025-52, signify by saying aye.
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 Great. Motion carries. Next item is resolution number 2025-53, consideration of cannabis research license annual report. Once again, Pat.
Yeah, so pursuant to section 132.9 of the regulations, in order to continue, cannabis research license must submit to the board information to essentially extend the research license with an annual report. The following research licensee has submitted an annual report to the office, which has been reviewed, and the office believes the licensee has demonstrated sufficient evidence to continue their research. As a reminder for this one, this is that their primary objective is research into investigate how the introduction of specific strains of beneficial bacteria into hydroponic media can improve cannabis growth, ultimately leading to enhanced yields and the potential for increased development of key compounds such as THC, CBD, and terpenes.
Thank you. Any questions? All right, we'll move it along. All in favor then of approving resolution number 2025-53, signify by saying aye.
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 Thank you. All right, next order of business is resolution number 2025-54, consideration of registered organization dispensing license locations. Can I have a motion to consider the resolution?
So moved.
Aye. Can I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you. Sorry, very much sorry for the late train.
Sorry, we blame Amtrak and the heat. Pat, would you mind giving us a explanation of this resolution, please?
Absolutely. So before the board today is a resolution to include 2 dispensing facility locations and 1 manufacturing facility location for Nana Farms, which is one of the new ROs, which was recently licensed by the board in the past 6 months. One of the dispensaries is located in Schenectady County, and the other dispensary is located in Westchester County. The manufacturing facility is out in Oneida County and will be conducting outdoor cultivation. The office has received all required information in terms of approving these locations, including adequate proof of control over the locations from the licensee. Just a reminder, the office will conduct a pre-operational inspection before the clearance is given to go at any of these locations, following if there is a board approval for the locations today.
Great, thank you. Any questions from the board? All right, if there are no questions, all in favor of approving resolution number 2025-54, signify by saying aye.
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 Everyone, motion carries. Next order of business is resolution number 2025-55, consideration of packaging, labeling, marketing, and advertising regulations for public comment.
So this one has been a bit of a saga, but glad to see it back in front of the board. Just to kind of give the history here, it was originally approved to go out for public comment at the March board meeting. Then at the May board meeting, before it was officially published, the board directed the office to hold on publishing, mainly to address an issue in the proposed regulations related to billboards. So the cannabis law is rather prescriptive. It does not allow advertising via billboards, and the office has gone back and got with council and has proposed amendments to this package to make it clear that advertising via billboard is not allowed. It's not allowed in the cannabis law. It strikes this balance to also allow signage from our retail dispensary licensees at their dispensaries by allowing for larger signage when the sign is near a dispensary, and then a smaller signage allowed when the signs or advertisements are away from a dispensary. The majority of the other kind of changes in there were very technical in nature, and so that was really the main change in substance. If approved today, these will go back out for a 45-day public comment period, in which case then they would be coming back to the board after that public comment period to either make further changes or to be adopted.
Great, thanks, Pat. Any questions from the board? Will these get posted on the August 6th register as well, or later?
I can check. That might be a little tight, but we can follow up with you on when they'll get posted, but hopefully in August.
Okay. If there are no other questions from the board, we'll just bring it to a vote. All in favor of resolution 2025-55, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Everyone. Next up is resolution number 2025-56, consideration of applications closed for one license policy. Can I have a motion to consider the resolution?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. And we're going to hear from Pat again. This one.
Thank you. So we've talked about this issue a couple times at the last couple board meetings. Just kind of as a refresher, in May 2024, the board passed a guidance document that set out a policy that for this first application window, each entity and majority owner would only be eligible to have one retail dispensary license for this first application window, really as an effort to try and make sure that more people could have access to a dispensary license before other people could start having their second or third. There was a court case and a judge issued a determination in late April, early May that the guidance policy was invalid and not enacted in the correct form. And so that led to a number of those applicants involved in the lawsuit to essentially have their second or third applications put back into process. And so in tandem with this, we have also closed close to 400 applications for this one license policy. So the resolution before the board today is to put back into process those applications that were closed because of this policy, to essentially continue processing them, which would allow people who applied multiple times in the November queue to have a second or third license if it's eligible. So this kind of ties to the resolution that is immediately preceding this. But after the team did the review, there's approximately 400 applications that fit into this criteria. About 200 of them have a fact pattern where the entity, the same entity applied multiple times for the same location. And this was something that was allowed because of the way that application window was structured. Essentially, it was done by the queue, which was essentially a lottery. And so people applied multiple times to try and get a better spot in the queue with their different application. However, you can't have a license issued for the same location 3 times. So the office is recommending that for this fact pattern, for the entities that applied with the same location, that they be denied and not be allowed to be put back into process and continue processing for their second and third, since it's for the same location. But for those people that did apply, which is approximately 200, for a different location or under a different entity, that those applications would be put back into process. And why this is kind of important as we think about the bigger picture and the applications before us is we have to get through the November queue before we can move on to the December queue. And so getting these 200 or so applications back in process will help us get through that November queue so we could then move on to December.
Got it. Any questions from the board? Does this change the estimated timeline you've shared with us in previous board meetings? How long it'll take to get through that November queue?
That timeline of basically, end of yearish is still in place, as we were kind of anticipating that this was going to be a factor in adding the number of applications we need to get.
Okay, so it's already in the calculations.
Yep.
Thank you. Okay, if there are no questions from the board, I'll call for a vote. All in favor of resolution number 2025-56, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Right. Motion carries. Next up is resolution number 2025-57, consideration of delegating denial power for certain license applications. Pat, can I have a motion to consider this resolution? Thank you. Can I have a second?
Second.
Wonderful. And Pat?
Yes, and as I alluded to, this is the one that's very related to this. So in this resolution, it would essentially be delegating to the office the ability to deny applicants that fit that fact pattern we were just talking about, where if the entity applied multiple times under the same entity, same location, it would be giving the office the ability to deny those applications. So we could essentially close them out formally, because the way that they're denied now under the one license policy is not valid. So they need a proper way to be closed out.
Okay. Any questions from the board? All right, I'll just call for a vote. All in favor of adopting resolution 2025-57, signify by saying aye.
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 Motion carries. Next up is, can I have a motion to consider resolution 2025-58, consideration of administrative appeal regarding the matter of Brecken Gold Athletics NYC DBA Breckenridge Hemp Company versus OCM. And for this one, we're going to go on to the screen to Selena Ditchev. Are you?
So moved.
Oh, so sorry. Thank you for that motion. Can I have a second?
Second.
Thank you.
Good
Selena,
morning, Madam Chair. Good morning, board members. The resolution before the board is to consider and approve the recommended decision that was sent to the board in advance and is posted on the OCM website for the appeal filed by appellant Brecken Gold Athletics, NYC DBA Breckenridge Hemp Company. The appellant has filed the appeal pursuant to section 133.22 of Title IX New York Codes, Rules, and Regulations. Next slide, please. The hearing was conducted pursuant to Cannabis Law 138A and to section 133.25 of Title IX Code, Rules, and Regs. The hearing was to determine the notice of violation and a cease order that had been issued by appellee OCM after a regulatory inspection. On appeal, the appellant raised several issues. One, whether a licensed cannabinoid hemp retailer is subject to Article 6 of the Cannabis Law and subject to seizure by OCM during a regulatory inspection. Whether there was an error of law to impose a civil penalty for unlicensed activity pursuant to Cannabis Law 132(1)A on a cannabinoid retailer, a licensed cannabinoid hemp retailer, and whether there was sufficient evidence establishing unlicensed activity as defined in the Cannabis Law. Oh, and finally, whether the ALJ had retroactively applied regulatory standards from guidance that was issued subsequent to the inspection and to the hearing. I would recommend to the board to adopt and to approve the recommended decision that was prepared and shared with the board, specifically denying the appellant's appeal and affirming the ALJ's decision. The appellant's argument regarding OCM's authority pursuant to 138A is contrary to the law. Under the law, the language is very clear, and the intent was that the appellee OCM has authority to inspect and to issue violations for unlicensed activity against any person, regardless of whether or not that individual is licensed. If the activity is unlicensed activity and outside of the scope of the license issued, they are very well deemed to have been engaged in unlicensed activity under the Cannabis Law. Additionally, it was not error of law for the ALJ to impose a civil penalty because, again, that section is also applicable to all persons. There was substantial evidence in the record to support the unlicensed activity, which again is defined in the Cannabis Law and does include activity outside the scope of an issued license. The ALJ did not retroactively apply regulatory standards because the guidance that was issued after the hearing was issued explaining regulations that had already been in effect from December 2023. There were no regulations or rules that were introduced in that guidance. The written recommendation was shared in advance and is available on the website and does further expand on the reasoning. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Any questions from the board? Seeing none, I will call for a vote. All in favor of resolution 2025-58 to accept the recommendation to affirm the ALJ's decision, please signify by saying aye.
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 Motion carries. Before we get to the Office of Cannabis Management report, you'll note that the agenda doesn't have any PCA requests before the board for this month. And our next meeting won't be till September. We wanted to let you know that we have every intention of going through those who have submitted those PCA requests on June 27th or earlier, and get all of those done as many of those done at the September meeting. So that is our goal for those of you waiting for your PCA request to be considered by the board. If you are among that cohort, We urge you to please be mindful of communication that may be coming from OCM to get your application ready for the board. That way you won't be further delayed. And if you submitted your PCA request after June 27th, know that the new PCA regs will be applicable to your request, and those will be considered hopefully shortly thereafter. But we are very committed, and the OCM team is very committed to trying to move through those applications so that all of you can continue in building your business where it's best for you and your partners. So with that, I will pass it on to Executive Director Felicia Reed.
Yes. Good morning. Nope. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for being here. I will do a brief update on PowerScore and then turn it to our policy team to discuss the market update. This is just a final reminder to all licensees authorized to cultivate that your benchmark PowerScore is due August 31st of 2025. So you have a little over a month to get that done. Please be mindful of that date. We now have a series of brief tutorial videos posted to our YouTube page in a playlist, which you can access by clicking the QR code on the screen. It's hella small here, but the slide deck will be posted and you'll be able to see the QR code that way. The 3 new tutorials are 15 minutes or less and cover how to set up your account and gather the data you'll need to enter, how to enter your data into the system, and how to interpret the results of your PowerScore report. We also have a webinar recording available in the playlist that covers regulations and reporting timelines from our PowerScore guidance document and a PowerScore demonstration recording that walks you through the product. Finally, you can also access this playlist by going to OCM's Energy and Environmental Sustainability webpage. The easiest way to do that is Google OCM and those words, or the New York State PowerScore landing page. If you have any questions, please do feel free to reach out to the office. You can also find other useful documents on the web pages as well, including PowerScore guidance and the data checklist. If you have questions about your account or need to help with the PowerScore platform, please reach out to the Resource Innovation Institute at PowerScore at resourceinnovation.org. That's all one on the latter half after the at. So I'll say it again, PowerScore at resourceinnovation.org. If you have any questions about reporting rules or required timelines, please contact the office at powerscore@ocm.ny.gov. Thank you. And I will turn it to Kevin and Sarah. I believe they're here. Kevin, before you begin, I just want to welcome a new member to the table, Simone Washington, our Chief Equity Officer. So glad you're here today. And looking forward to all the work that you're doing and all the work you'll continue to do. All right, Kevin.
All right. Hi, everyone. So this market update is going to be similar in structure to last month's. There are 2 sections. The first is a continuation of the licensing analysis from last month. We're going to look at how many stores may open their doors and how long that takes. And then the second section is the core sales views we always show. Please stop me if anybody has any questions along the way. All right. I want to start by reorienting everybody to where we left off. We now have 431 open AU dispensaries in the state of New York. There are 575 entities that are licensed but not yet open, 960 that are pending or under review, and 3,518, or 53% of the applications, are in submitted status, meaning they've not yet been touched. Of those in a submitted status, almost all of them are from the December queue. We continue to grow store count steadily, but there's a lot in the pipeline, and we have barely scratched the surface. Last month, we looked at how many potential dispensaries we could have if everybody was approved and everybody opened their doors. This month, we want to try to estimate how many of those are likely to open. To do this, we broke the application funnel into 2 parts. The first is review to office approval, which is the graph on the left. This looks at the period covering the first time OCM touches the app through when the application either receives provisional status or is recommended for approval, whichever comes first. For the November queue, this process took about 182 days on average. For many applicants, it was shorter than this, but a few have taken a very long time. 83.7% of decided applications were approved. The second part of the funnel is office approval through store openings. This is the graph on the right, which reflects all openings to date. The average amount of time this took was about 115 days. Similar to the previous step in the funnel, many applicants open fairly quickly, but a few have taken a long time. Based on analysis of the provisionally licensed stores approaching their deadline to find locations, we estimate that 76.3% of office-approved locations will open. Market conditions could alter this over time. Just as a heads up, like different queues, I guess, could have different conditions that they're dealing in. As we have more saturation as we get deeper into the queues, we can't necessarily say if that'll hold, but that's the information that we have today. So this means in total, we estimate 63.9% of applications will open, and that it will take about 11 months once touched on average. This slide takes the assumptions from the prior slide and applies them to the full retail December queue. There are 3,664 retail applications in the December queue, of which we expect 3,067 to be approved and 2,340 to open. If we add in the 987 estimated openings from the card and November queues, that gives us an additional 3,327 stores on top of 431 stores open today. All right, this is going to be a long one, but everyone bear with me. This is the slide where we put it all together. I'll draw your attention to the chart on the left. There are a number of moving pieces I'll walk you through here, but this is essentially where we modeled the decision over time. First off, we know from the previous slide that across all queues, we estimate 3,327 new stores, assuming a fully reviewed December queue. The bars along the bottom of this chart show how we project these stores will open over time. We assume 24 stores per month for the next few years. This is based on the average store openings to date. We modeled in a ramp of up to 40 stores per month in the out years to reflect less complicated December queue applications and fewer supply side licenses to process. This may be an aggressive assumption. This puts our last December queue store opening in March of 2033. The second thing I want to call your attention to is the black line on the chart. This is the cumulative store count over time. As you can see, it goes from today's 431 stores through as many as 3,700 stores. The final thing I want you to look at is the red area. This is the potential market strain zone. This is the point in terms of store count where New York could start to see store unprofitability, closures, price collapse, and equity failure. The market strain zone is not a precise forecast. We won't know where this truly is until we hit it. It is a symbolic threshold, an informed estimate based on what we have seen in benchmark states like Oregon, Colorado, Michigan, Washington, and Massachusetts, adjusted for New York's population density. We placed it at around 1,700 stores, which mirrors the average density of the states mentioned above. We don't know where this line actually is, but you can probably assume that the higher store count goes, the more likely it is that we will get there. Based on our licensing forecast, New York could reach the potential market strain zone in January of 2029. This is more than 4 years before we would be through a fully reviewed December queue, in which time we would open about 2,000 more stores in that 4 years, potentially into an already strained market.
I just want to flag for the previous slide, we do still require the board to review some of what we're putting out there in terms of the information relative to December queue. So that this is not to say this is a final or determined number or totally accurate number in terms of what will end up happening. This is just to give information for folks about how we're looking at things overall. But again, that the direction around the December queue will come from the board. It will not come from OCM.
Correct. Yeah, this is if the past holds and goes into the future, just a projection, not the determination. Okay, just going to hammer it home here. So why market strain could be hard to course correct? Over half of all applications are still awaiting review. Submission to opening takes 12 to 18 months on average, and once granted, cannot be undone. After that, we still need to observe market performance to assess market health. This takes time to unfold. This means we will not see the impact of new licenses in real time and potentially after it is too late to act. By the time we reach market strain, we could already be locked into licensing thousands of more applications. Okay, now just on to the normal sales update. I'll go through this one quick. So sales for June came in at 142.2 million, our best month to date. For the year so far, we are at 869.1 million and should reach 1 billion in sales for the year next month. Program to date, we are at 1.91 billion in sales and should reach 2 billion in sales in the next month. Exciting stuff. More good news, sales per store rose month over month for the first time since August of 2024. This is likely due to the ramping of mature stores more than offsetting the addition of new stores that are just opening. Okay, this is my last slide. This slide shows the average price of flower by state. New York has the highest price of all tracked markets. This is likely due to a multitude of factors, including our relative newness as a program. All of the highest price states are newer markets, but price has compressed significantly in older markets as they've matured. What remains to be seen is whether our highest in the nation pricing is a function of legal consumers being comfortable paying more for cannabis, as they historically have done even during prohibition, or whether even despite dramatic growth seen to date, New York just hasn't yet experienced the price compression seen in other markets as they've matured. We'll have a better sense of how this is trending as we get into September and then the outdoor harvest season in the fall. That's it for me. Does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, do you have any?
Just a couple. In one of the things that I was curious about in sort of an analysis for the future is, do we have the ability to analyze what THC levels by what kind, like percentages of products at different THC levels that are selling across the market?
Not currently given the data that we have, but we hope to be able to augment our data to be able to start
Would
to
the
track
seed to sale implementation help that or not?
potentially.
And then getting back to the sort of saturation or
Strain.
strain is
Yeah.
the word I guess we're using. Question is, that obviously is affected in some ways by where the stores are located. Obviously, if we end up, it seems like a reason why we need to focus even more on where we have room to grow the market. So that would be something that looking again at where do we have regional discrepancies where there's actually more potential for growth, and other areas where some areas strain might hit earlier, some it might hit later.
Completely agree. And that's definitely something we could look into in future meetings.
Thank you.
I have a question. If you're yet seeing the impact of the economy and what's happening at the federal level on the cannabis market here in New York.
Not a whole lot yet from my perspective. I maybe would have said something different a couple of months ago, but it seems like we're starting to see things rebound a little bit, which makes me think it has less to do with kind of the macroeconomic conditions and more to do with just kind of store portfolio dynamics, just as like new stores come on and ramp and all that. So I think that's probably more, those drivers are stronger in our market than I think like macroeconomics are at the moment.
Okay.
I'll just add to that. I think it depends on where you are in the supply chain also. I know having talked to and been out to see cultivators, they're starting to see increases in products that they normally use for cultivation, including processors. I think when you think about, vapes and those parts are coming from often China or overseas, they're seeing some of the squeeze there. So I really think it depends on where you are in the ecosystem. But, I've heard a lot of conversation about it. And one thing that I had flagged for Kevin and co coming out of a briefing from the governor on economic health of New York is what's happening right now due to discretionary spending? What does that do to personal income? And so I think we may start to see things, but like Kevin said, on the retail and consumer side, nothing quite yet.
And have we seen store closures yet?
Not that I've seen yet, no.
Thank you.
Anything else? Okay, last point for everybody. The office has just put out a cultivator survey. We've emailed it to all of the relevant licensees. Basically, the data that we're collecting here is going to help us kind of augment some of the stuff we looked at last month around license capacity, understanding how much people are actually utilizing what they plan to utilize, who's operational and who's not. So I just encourage everybody to please check your emails and please take the survey. It'll be very helpful for us. Thanks.
Now we will move to the C update. I'm going to welcome Julia.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, board. My name is Julius Caranda. I'm on the social economic equity team here at OCM. Please, next slide.
Oh, you control it.
Oh, sorry.
You're driving.
So used to the New York one. Apologize. Okay, so today's licenses that were passed today, 62% of all adult use licenses that were issued today are C. 56% of those that were issued today, you'll see, are minority-owned businesses. 56% are women-owned businesses. 16% are from communities that have been disproportionately impacted, and 3% are service-disabled veterans, and 3% are distressed farmers. These numbers continue to demonstrate the diversity in our license packages. And I think it's just going to continue to show that how committed the office is to equity. Also, please note some of these licenses may be counted multiple times if they are approved for multiple types of C categories. Okay, so this is C stats overall, meaning since the inception of the program, 56% of all adult use licenses issued are C owned. 47% are minority-owned businesses, 56% are women-owned businesses, 14% are from communities that have been disproportionately impacted, 7% are service-disabled veterans, and 7% are distressed farmers. Once again, licenses may be counted multiple times if they are approved for multiple types of C categories. And now we have our C across the supply chain slide. 39% of all of our adult use cultivators are C. 40% of all of our adult use processors are C. 47% of our adult use distributors are C. 59% of our adult use micro businesses are C. 79% of our adult use retail dispensaries are C. Once again, showing the diversity of our licenses across the supply chain, and see how C is represented across the supply chain. And last but not least, the C team has issued a technical assistance and incubation survey. So we are conducting the short surveys to better understand the current landscape around cannabis incubation and education. We are looking to reach out to community-based organizations, folks that have their own incubation services, education institution, anybody that's doing any cannabis-related work when it comes to incubation, when it comes to training. We want to hear from you. We want to get your feedback so that we can better inform us to see how we can help and support you. This is a very important survey, and if you are doing any work around the cannabis space, even if you may not be doing anything directly, but you are helping folks, I think you should fill this out, help us out to better inform how we can develop our programs and make sure that we're reaching the right people and we're being as targeted as we can. The QR code is up on the screen as you see, so please give it a scan if you haven't done so already. And we really appreciate getting your feedback so we can move forward.
Julius, for how long is the survey open?
I believe the survey is open. I can get that to you. Wait 1 second.
Okay. We'll come back to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I'll get that to you right away. And in the meantime, any questions from the board? Any other questions? Okay. All right. I'll get that to you in 1 second.
Okay, great.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay. Oh, sorry. For another month.
Oh, another month?
Another month.
Okay,
Sorry.
lovely.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Julius.
All right. Thank you.
Back to Chair Garcia.
All right, fantastic. So now we're on to the part of the agenda that I know a lot of you are here for, and that is the public comment. As you proceed with this, please remember that this is an opportunity for the public to address the board. We will not be answering questions, but we will be noting your questions and concerns and attempt to follow up where appropriate. Each commenter will have no more than 2 minutes to speak. If you submitted comments electronically, those will be captured in the meeting minutes and will be posted on the website when the minutes are posted. And with that, we're going to begin. And who's our timekeeper today?
That's an excellent question. Who's keeping time? I mean, I could,
We can keep time.
I'll do it. Oh,
Oh,
okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you. So our timekeepers over there, please keep your eye on, what's your name? Kaylin. Thank you so much, Kaylin. And remember, you only have 2 minutes. So with that, we will start with Margaret Nicole and Wind Bertrand. Be ready to come up after. Yeah, the mic's right here.
You can come close. You can grab a chair, sit up right there so you're in eyesight.
I think you should come closer here.
So she can see.
Yeah,
You can camp out at the end of the
because
table.
the speakers need to see you, so.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Hi, I'm here today to ask that you honor your assurances and move the trajectory for those of us who've been patiently waiting for indoor cultivation license. The Administrative Procedures Act is in ruins. You've deviated from the legislation and intent, which has left the OCM and CCB as legislators. The impact of your initiative and practice must be challenged. This is a prevalent questionable pattern and practice. When you deviate from mandates, you're left with an unregulated toxic market, which has expanded the illicit market beyond where it generally stood. We have not that irreparably, I'm sorry, let me go back. There is no order. More people are licensed today who have avoided any kind of queuing system. They have not sat irreparably in a manipulated system or heard empty promises of an expedited order. It's most of this audience who have felt the arbitrary leanings. This is a true byproduct of your design. When the chair poses a question about converting outdoor growers to indoors and is told that there will be little or no impact to the people who are in the December queue, it's a shameless misrepresentation. When the next phrase jumps right to a saturated market, the statements are erroneous and a stranglehold on us continues by design. Desperate. Trade groups and pharma seem to have your voice and the voice that counts, and they listen and they revert back to the mission you were charged with. The equity has circled the drain. I'm asking you to take this hiatus in August and go back to the legislation. I implore you, and crosswalk what's happening today to what the legislation states. My legislation, my copy of it, looks like I trained 3 dogs, 2 dogs have eaten it. I've dog-eared it because I followed it so succinctly. I will be glad to point to those items if you ask me to. I need your help. We've been doing this now for years with empty promises, and we are imploring you to let us get out of the gate.
Thank you. Win Bertrand next, and after them, Kenneth Seligson.
Sure.
You could give it to Nick Perry right here in the front. Thank you so much.
Hi, good morning. My comment, just before my time starts, please, my comment is based on the microtype licenses in the December queue, because my understanding is that the mentioning of the review of the December queue by the board today is an exclusion of the retail and micro applicants related to a current injunction. My name is Wendy Bertrand, and I'm not only an RN and certified cannabis nurse who holds a New York State hemp retail license, but I am also a micro business applicant, OCM MICR 2023-000-806 from the December queue. Once again, I stand before you today, not just as an applicant, but as someone who grew up in a community disproportionately impacted by cannabis prohibition, and as a proud recipient of OCM's C designation, created specifically to ensure equity is more than a buzzword, but a real living mission in New York State's cannabis industry. It is deeply disheartening that while applicants like myself, meaning those meant to be prioritized and are still waiting even a review of our applications, while the larger ROs, MSOs, and financially sound general applicants have already received both reviews and licenses. This isn't just about fairness, it's about honoring the promise that equity would come first. It's about not turning our backs on the very communities and individuals this initiative was built to uplift. I know that the OCM is doing its best under pressure and navigating what continues to be uncharted waters because of the current injunction. But to skip over the December 2023 micro Q without its proper review would be an insult to injury and a serious miscarriage of justice to a society that has already carried that burden for so long. Also, sidebar, it's very hot out today, so please check on your elderly and loved ones.
Thank you. Kenneth Seligson, followed by Nicola, Sharaval.
Good morning. My name is Ken Seligson, and I'm counsel for Sith Lord TD Inc., a licensed cannabis dispensary located at 381 Fifth Ave in Manhattan. My client received their final approval and opened just 4 months ago on April 2nd of this year. I'm here today to respectfully oppose the public convenience and advantage requested by New York Retail 4 Inc. for a proposed dispensary at 435 Fifth Ave, approximately 700 feet from my client's front door. This application is legally improper for 2 reasons. First, under the proposed or pending PCA regulations, a new dispensary cannot be approved within 1,000 feet of 2 others in a city like New York City. And this location is within 1,000 feet of 2 other dispensaries, my client's location at 381 Fifth Ave, as well as another retail store at 12 East 42nd Street, Polanco Brothers. That alone requires denial. Second, even where a new dispensary is proposed within 500 to 1,000 feet of an existing one, the proposed rules only allow if the existing business has been open for at least 9 months. My client has only been open for 4 months. The application violates this rule too. But this isn't just about distance, it's about fairness and trust in the regulatory process. My client, like many other C applicants, invested substantial capital and time in their location with an understanding that the buffer rules were in place to give new dispensaries room to grow, stabilize, and succeed. They relied on that promise when choosing a location, signing a lease, and building out their space. There's no meaningful barrier to access in this part of Midtown, and the area is already dense with licensed dispensaries, all within a few minutes of one another. We urge the board to uphold integrity of the PCA regulations and deny this request. And I just heard today that if the PCA request had been submitted after June 27, then the new laws that are going to affect would apply. But the notice that we received did not mention when exactly the PCA request had been submitted. So I think for the September hearing, it would be good for all the PCA request notices to actually state the date that it was submitted so that we could properly oppose based on the rules that are going to apply. Thank you.
Thank you. Nicola Cervale, followed by Jeffrey Emerson.
Good afternoon, OCM board members and leadership. My name is Nicola Cervale, owner of Prime Arrow. And yes, I am a December Q applicant for cultivation, but I'm not here today to plead or even raise my voice. I am here today as an advisor, a team player for New York. My background is a legacy grower for 25 years and an expert in the food and beverage industry for 30 years as a marketing consultant, chef, and restaurant owner. I have come here today with a solution to how to calculate how much canopy is needed for cultivation in New York by using what is called the consumption rate factor. This is what experts use in the food and beverage industry to calculate how much product needed for a specific consumable item. New York Department of Health estimates 2.3 million adults consume an average of a half ounce of cannabis weekly. Instead of 2.3, let's make it 2 million to be conservative and simple math. And instead of 52 weeks, let's make it 45 due to consumers not taking a break or don't have enough funds for the week. So 2 million consumers times a half ounce of cannabis weekly for 45 weeks equals 45 million ounces of annual demand. And again, this is only reported consumption, not unreported. I know as a legacy grower and cultivator, it takes 6 months to grow cannabis to reach a product ready available for a consumer from clone, grow, flower, harvest, dry, trim, and pack. Let's just take the fact of flowering time for canopy purposes. I know it takes 1 square feet of canopy to produce 1 ounce of product. I could use that same square feet 4 times a year with the perpetual harvest system. So here's the math, and I'll explain this right away. This means, that means 4 weeks out of 45 will supply 2 consumers a ½ ounce a week. But what about the remaining 41 weeks out of the 45? To figure that remaining 41 weeks, you have to divide 41 weeks by 4 turns, which is 10.25 plus the original 4 weeks equals 14.25 square feet canopy needed for 2 consumers. This is the factor rate, 14.25. Now, let's say if I have to provide of all New York weekly cannabis consumers, well, I know 1 square feet multiplied by the factor rate of 14.25 will supply 2 consumers a ½ ounce.
Time's up.
Sorry, I just really, this is more of an informative thing
Please submit your comments, or
can I give you copies?
yeah, you can give
Because
it
this
on
is
to
really
Nick.
will break down everything.
You can give it to Nick. Thank you.
Sorry, I wasn't being ill or any kind of advisory. I just wanted to show you that we're a little bit in the negative. And if we approve all of the December 2 applicants, still be a little behind on canopy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, Jeffrey Emerson, followed by Jennifer Babian.
Hello, I'm Jeff Emerson, Vice President of Shenkana, Tier 1 Indoor Cultivator Applicant with licenses for processing and distribution issued by the OCM in October and November of 24. In the recent June CCB meeting, it was acknowledged in discussion that the supply chain needs more indoor flower for all the superior quality and steady production benefits as described. While encouraging to hear this, we were dismayed by the recommendation to allow legacy outdoor and mixed light cultivators to reclassify some of their licensed canopy into indoor production. While the need is recognized for more high-quality indoor flower, it represents the smallest amount of licensed canopy issued, and half of the issued indoor canopy is with registered organizations. Allowing legacy producers to shift into indoor production ahead of all the indoor applicants is extremely unfair. While it won't result in a net increase in total licensed canopy, which is convenient to support the perception of preventing oversaturation, it will ultimately result in fewer indoor applicants getting a chance to open their doors in favor of incumbent large suppliers and multi-state operators already benefiting from being in business today, contrary to the stated intention of economic development and equal opportunity. As illustrated in the 3rd slide of the market update in the June meeting deck, indoor applicants are overwhelmingly the most underrepresented cultivation type in terms of license compared to waiting to be brought to the board. Your indoor capacity is right there in queue waiting to be brought to parity with the outdoor and mixed light cultivation types. Transitioning outdoor and mixed lighting license types to indoor will exacerbate the already glaring inequity keeping indoor applicants from operating. Our processing and distribution licenses are useless if we can't cultivate. Shenkana stands ready to supply high-quality indoor flower. We've got everything ready to go. You've already approved us in prior license rounds, so that should be easy. This would bring the type of community-based economic development the law intended while improving the quality of packaged flower being brought to the market. Until licensed stores carry better quality products than the deli down the street, it's going to be difficult to compete with them. Increasing the amount of licensed indoor canopy is the way to get there, but doing so by favoring legacy producers ahead of those in the application queue would be an injustice. And thank you for your time. And letting me give
Good move.
Thank you.
That was good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Around 2 minutes.
Close.
There you go. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Jennifer Babian, followed by Chris Costian.
Hi, guys. Thank you for your time. My name is Jen Babian. I'm a licensee whose location has been deemed viable and granted proximity protection. Despite this, my license is still waiting final board approval with no timeline or actual communication from OCM for several months. I'd just like to raise a broader concern about communication. There is no reliable way to obtain timely updates. Phone inquiries are routinely redirected to email and many go unanswered. This lack of access and transparency makes it extremely difficult for licensees to plan and operate responsibly. For example, many of us that attended today's meeting based on prior communication suggesting that PCA waivers would be reviewed, it now appears that those items have been postponed without notice. Early publication of the agenda or direct outreach would have prevented unnecessary travel and made participation more effective, eliminating comments not directly relevant to today's issues. I'm also here to express concern over PCA waivers being considered for locations near licensees who are not even open or have just opened. OCM's own common sense guidance states that licensees must be operational for 9 months before a PCA waiver can be granted. Ignoring this policy undermines small operators, ignores the underlying reasons proximity protection even exists in the first place, and erodes trust in the regulatory framework. In my case specifically, I'm not even open. My location hasn't even been formally approved. And we have a licensee looking to open a second location for their business. It's an established brand just 3 blocks away. And for these reasons, I'm here to formally oppose Vignola Care LLC PCA waiver. But that's it. Look, I'm 30 seconds in. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Next up is Chris Costian, followed by Audrey Bonanno Williams.
Hi, thank you for the opportunity. My name is Chris Kosh, and I'm the Vice President of Misty Blue Farm, a micro business with retail right here in the city of Troy. On a personal note, I'd like to reach out to John and hope that his family is doing well. I hope it's all going well.
Oh, he had twin boys.
Excellent.
Great.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you. I wanted to briefly talk about the proposed Part 117 regulations about cannabis events. And really want to reiterate that the proposed regulations fly directly in the face of the enabling legislation. The enabling legislation says in 3 separate places, quote, a licensee authorized to conduct retail sales of adult use cannabis. It doesn't say ROs and it doesn't say dispensaries. It says any licensee authorized for retail sales. We know that micro businesses can purchase cannabis in any form, up to 500 pounds of flower equivalent, from other cultivators, from other processors, and make that part of our business. And I guarantee, based on my experience with Cannabis Grower Showcases a couple of years ago, that they would be happy to participate in an event side by side with a micro running the retail component. You can have all micros, a micro running retail, a micro as a cultivator, and a micro as a processor. I think the regulations as written and as proposed will result in legal challenges that will make those events impossible for next year, much less the end of this year.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Audrey Bonanno Williams, followed by Scott Trifolo.
Good afternoon. My name is Audrey, and I'm the owner of Cannabis New York LLC, a 100% minority-owned, 100% family-owned, and majority women-owned business. We submitted our dispensary license application, OCM Retail 2023-000996, in November 23 crew. Since then, we've maintained continuous, exclusive control of our proposed retail location. We have never released it. Throughout this process, we've remained constant, good faith communication with OCM and CCB, including the former CCB chair. Our application was previously blocked from receiving proximity protection because a licensed micro business was operating within 1,000 feet. However, that business has since ceased operation and the space is now listed for rent or sale, a fact we documented and shared directly with the OCM and CCB. Just 2 weeks ago, we received a call from OCM confirming that this dispensary is no longer active, yet we were told we still need to request a public convenience and advantage waiver. We are respectfully asking if the proximity issue no longer exists, why are we being required to obtain a waiver? This program was created to support equity and prioritize ownership by people like me, individuals and families who have been historically excluded from the industry. We've complied fully at every step, and yet we are being delayed due to the condition that no longer applies. This delay has real consequences. Every day we're stored, we lose rent, we lose time, and we lose economic opportunity for community. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Feel free to email your comments. Scott Trifolo, followed by Fred Whiteman.
Hi, my name is Scott Tripolo, micro license holder number 4 in Saratoga Springs, New York. I'm a micro with retail. I would just like to welcome all the new board members to our cannabis community here in New York. You're all doing a wonderful job. Thank you. I'd like to talk a little bit more about what Chris spoke of, micro with retail regarding the upcoming grower showcases. And I was a organizer of one of the grower showcases, the first grower showcases in Saratoga Springs, very successful. Our base loved to meet the farmers and things like that. To what he said regarding micro with retail, if I'm a little disappointed that we didn't see the micro retailers allowed to hold these events. And to add with, he said, even a simpler version would be like a farmer's market. Both of Saratoga Springs farmers markets are on board with this, but they only allow farmers that grow their own product, right? So I know that I'm not able to sell other product, but for me to set up at a farmer's market to sell my own product, my own manufactured product and cultivated products would be a huge boost for us. We're very limited now in retail into what we can sell. So this would be a very good boost. And I would hope that you would consider that moving forward. And then one other thing regarding the micro cultivation tiers, we've got an outdoor tier, an indoor tier, a mixed light tier, and then we have a combination tier of outdoor and mixed light. And right from the beginning, I've been putting in comments and I've been talking to John about, can we add a micro cultivation tier of outdoor and indoor? It very, very, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Fred Whiteman, followed by Matthew Robinson.
Hello. Hi, my name's Fred Whiteman. I'm a card license holder retailer in the town of Brookhaven. Our card number is 95. I'm part of the Long Island Cannabis Coalition. We have been in the process for 3 years. We had purchased a building in a very strong location. We have had site protection for almost 2 years. We went through a lengthy process with the town of Brookhaven to receive our CO for a retail clothing store and a CBD dispensary. Our retail clothing store is a piece of Woodstock. It's been 2 months since we had gone through our final checkups, and then it had been passed over for the activation. So we've been waiting 2 months for activation. Our store is open. We have a CO for our location. We've been working with the Chamber of Commerce, the Civic Association, and the local police, and was actually received a call from Suffolk County Police on the way up, asking if there's any update on when our license is going to be activated, because the community now is supporting it, and it's been a long-waited time. We're located in the Quorum area, which has gotten quite a bit of news lately for fentanyl overdose. Our business is committed to giving back to that community and committed to working with local nonprofit organizations, which we have been doing, to help to facilitate the issues as far as drug education and working with the fentanyl issues, especially that are so prevalent in the town of Quorum. So what I would ask is that the control board please help us to get our license activated. Thank you.
Matthew Robinson, followed by Jake Kapani.
Good morning, everybody. First and foremost, I'd like to say thank you to the OCM, CCB, CAB. Congratulations to John and his twins. With that being said, I'm the owner of Legacy Dispensary. I'm also the director of Cranny, Cannabis Retail Lines of New York, an organization that is focused on the retail portion tier of cannabis. The BioTrack time that you guys are giving us to reconcile is just not enough. 30 days is understandable, but at 30 days, there needs to be a reconciliation period where the vendors and the retailers can get together and make sure that the invoices are paid correctly and timely. So it just can't be, hey, day 31, they're thrown on this list when the vendor hasn't given approval or hasn't confirmed whether you've paid or not. That's gonna be very harmful to dispensaries. Also, quarantined items. When items are in quarantine, we still have only 30 days to pay it back, but we can't sell it. So you're telling us, hey, pay this back in 30 days, but don't sell anything. It just puts us as retailers in a bad position, and that needs to be looked at as well. Also, the sample handling. Samples are being requested by inspectors for retailers to put that into the system of their POS. Now, that takes a lot of time, and some of these samples may or may not be actually implemented and used as a sale. For items that aren't going to be sold, it makes no sense to have my staff take hours to put these samples in throughout the week, and we don't sell it. No, it doesn't meet certain criteria as far as mold counts and other counts. So the sampling should just be based off of the manifest. If it's manifested that we have received it, that should be more than enough to say, hey, we know where this product went, we know who has this product. Sometimes just overreaching or overstepping can happen, and it's not intentional. It's just an unknown thing. And this is what I'm just bringing a voice to it. Oh, okay, thank you. Also, I am the director of Cranny. We are accepting members as Cranny. We will be at the OCM Newport's meeting on August 5th and August 12th. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Jake Kapani, followed by Ankit Patel.
How you doing? I'm Jake Kapani. I'm representing Create Kindness, OCM Retail 2023-2096. I've had an ongoing issue where March 11th, I was notified that I was up for final licensure and board approval. And when the meeting came in March, I wasn't on the board. I wasn't on the agenda. There was an issue with the application, and I came to the May meeting, and the members of the OCM helped me a lot, and the communication was really good. But now my application is done. Everything OCM is deemed it done and ready to go to board review in July, and it's still not on the agenda. And I took this information that it was going to be on the agenda, and I evicted my tenants from my building. My wife has a interest in the license. I'm the property owner, so I'm losing about $10,000 a month that it doesn't get approved. I have no tenant in the building. The issue's resolved, and I would just ask that this license gets on the agenda as soon as possible. It's costing me money. I'm not asking for any special treatment. I'm just asking you to honor the email that was sent, and that's all I'm asking for. And I appreciate it.
Thank you. Ankit Patel, followed by Verbase Sabat.
Good afternoon. My name is Ankit Patel. I'm here on behalf of Sith Lord TD, a licensed dispensary that just opened 3 months ago at 381 Fifth Ave. We're asking you today to keep your word on the 1,000-foot rule. We signed our lease long before opening. We paid rents for months, years, while we waited for the green light. We followed every step, trusted the process, believed that the rules around spacing between dispensaries would be honored. That was the understanding. 1,000 feet between licensees so that equity operators could have a fighting chance in the early months. Now, just 3 months into operations, we're being told that another dispensary could be approved 786 feet from our door. That's not what we were promised, and that's not what we planned for. Although the waiver discussion will take place in the next meeting, I want to express that we're not even close to breaking even. Based on our current projections, we're at least 7 to 8 months away. We're covering payroll, taxes, commercial rent in Midtown Manhattan every month while still trying to build a customer base. We're doing it the right way, above board, compliant, and fully licensed. Meanwhile, 5 smoke shops within 1,000 feet radius are either still selling illegally or have recently gone back to it. We're navigating those challenges while trying to educate customers and build legitimacy. And now we're facing the threat of another legal dispensary being allowed right on top of us before we've had a fair chance to get on our feet. The buffer zone exists for a reason. The 9-month protection window exists for a reason. Please respect it. I'm a C applicant. I desperately need your help. Your own charts show the diminishing sales as more stores open up. We're not asking for special treatment. We're just asking that for the rules to be applied fairly and consistently for all of us who built our businesses based on those rules. Thank you.
Thank you. Verbase Sabat, followed by Sam F.
Hello, good afternoon. Chair Garcia, congratulations on your recent appointment, and thank you to the other members of the board for being here with us today. My name is Berkay Sabat. I'm the proud owner of the Flowery. We are one of the first operating licensed dispensaries in New York State. We're opened as a part of the state's DASNY program, the Social Equity Fund. When I received my first license approval, it felt like history in the making. In fact, that's what was told to us by multiple people. This was going to be the first state that had justice impacted individuals, the card licensees, as the center of the state's cannabis program. Unfortunately, instead of support, we faced a lot of challenges, and these are the challenges that we continue to face today. We have extremely large build-out costs. As you know, a part of the DASNY program, all the build-outs were way over the allocated budget. I'm in contact with a lot of the DASNY stores. Many of them are paying over $30,000 a month back to the state for insane build-out costs, over $2 million for some stores. And yes, the loans are for 10 years, as somebody has mentioned. Sorry, I just got lost real quick. Okay. So I don't want to just come here and talk about financials. I wanted to talk about the original goal of this entire cannabis program. A lot of this legislation was passed on the fact that it was going to be given opportunities to see equity people and also card licensees. They told us that, they told the state and the voters that they were going to be empowering people like us. And I feel like the current program, the way it's structured with the loans, how expensive everything is, it's not helping in any way. And a lot of the original DASNY stores are severely struggling. We're asking for some sort of relief from you guys. Anything we could get in order to, help with the current build out costs, leases, any sort of help with the capitalization. I'm doing good, thank God, but there's a lot of the DASNY stores that are struggling. So I'd really appreciate your help in this matter. Thank you.
Thank you. Sam F., followed by Jason Friedman.
Hello, my name's Sammy Foda. I've maintained multiple hemp licenses from New York State since the inception of the cannabinoid hemp program. I submitted a card application on August 25th, 2022, the first day the portal opened. I'm applicant number 21 out of 903. Application number OCM card 2022-000021. I met every eligibility requirement. I have a cannabis conviction. I've operated a successful, profitable, tax-paying business in New York State for multiple years before I submitted my application as required. Nearly 3 years later, my application still says in process in the portal. I've never received a score. I've never received a deficiency notice. I've never received a denial. After numerous attempts at communication over the years and out of respect for the process, we retained legal counsel to seek clarification without resolution. We sent letters. We filed the FOIL request, nothing, no response. Meanwhile, close to 2,000 applicants, all behind me in line, have been reviewed, scored, and licensed. The only communication I ever received from the OCM was in September of last year asking me to correct an NAICS code. I did, and the portal reverted back to in process, and that was it. So we waited. We even gave up an opportunity for an adult use processing license, which I submitted an application for because we were told our card application was still in review. In our FOIL request, we requested the full list of all the scores for the card applications, any internal documents relating to how the order was determined, and a breakdown of how location at time of arrest was counted, as it accounted for 40 out of 100 possible points.
Sir, I'm going to ask that you submit your comments to us via email if you can.
Question for you, how do you spell your last name? Because all I have on the sheet is F.
FODA. I did submit this last month too.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. Jason Friedman, followed by Ricky Sue. Oh, okay, you're Jason? Okay, thank you. Ricky Sue, followed by Shlomo Weinstock.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Ricky from R&R Dispensary. Call license 204. I'm here today for I'm sorry, I'm just a little nervous.
Okay.
1,000 feet protection. We only opened up for 5 months. Okay, this is like the second time we have someone that coming in and open up or trying to open up near us. And then also within 1 mile of radius from us, from our store, there's a lot of black markets. There's already 10 licensed dispensaries near us. And we are barely surviving as a dispensary, as a business right now. We are struggling. So please, give us the chance to survive. That's all I gotta say.
Thank you.
you so much.
Thank you, Ricky.
And last comment, Shlomo Weinstock. Thank you. You're done? Oh, okay, great. So this concludes the public commenting period for today. I think I just have some reminders to share with you. I believe part of the reminders are the next scheduled meeting is tentatively scheduled actually for Tuesday, September 9th. And currently it's going to be New York City. Note that the time, location, and live stream of this meeting and future meetings will be on the website, cannabis.ny.gov. And a recording of today's meeting and meeting minutes and the transcription will also be posted. So with all that, this concludes the business for today. Can I have a motion to adjourn? Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone. That's the hope.
Thank you I saw